Hello, Algebra 2 class. A long time. Finally, kind of get back and hopefully in the swing of things. So hopefully you're bored enough to want to do math now, especially after 4 weeks here. Hopefully you remember some of it. So I know it's not the best of things, but we got to do what we can to kind of move forward. So we're looking at this week doing worksheet 3.5G and 3.5H. That's what I want you to accomplish in terms of getting done and getting into a routine today. We've done part of this already. You've seen all the notes before we left. We just had to review and take a test, but we'll talk about how we're going to do tests later. So I just want to review, get the brain going again. Hopefully you can remember how to complete the square. So let's take a look at doing something of that form. So let's start here. Let's do this. Let's determine where two equations will intersect. Okay. So let's say if you have, let's say f of x equals say x squared plus 2x, and say g of x equals negative 1/2 x squared plus 2x plus 6. So where you have y equals, put those equal to each other. So you have x squared plus 2x equals negative 1/2 x squared plus 2x plus 6. Now one thing you never want to do is work with fractions or decimals, especially with an equal sign. So let's multiply everything by 2 to get rid of those fractions. So we have 2x squared plus 4x. Here, negative 1x squared plus 4x plus 12. So add 1x squared, moving everything to the left side, minus 4x, and I'm going to stop there because something happened here. We had 3x squared, and there's no other x's. We just had, oops, there's the 12 there, 12. So when you only have two of the three things, we can just solve it by shortcuts. In this case, divide by 3. And we have x squared equals 4, and x would be plus or minus 2. Remember, that tells me that I have two solutions, and those will be both. Now, all you have to do is grab one of the functions. So let's say you have f of x equals x squared plus 2x. If you plug in f of 2, you get 4 plus 4, which is 8, or your point 2 comma 8. And then if I plug in and say f of negative 2, you get 4 minus 4, you get 0, or negative 2, 0. Now, you could have used g of x, but you would have got the same answer. So if I plugged in and say g of 2, I would also have got 8, the same thing there. All right, let's go into completing the square. Okay, so putting f of x into vertex form. Okay, so let's say we have, say f of x equals, say 2x squared plus 4x minus 2. Okay, so remember we dropped that off, set equal to 0. Two things we got to do to start off with. We got to have a 1 here, so let's divide everything by 2. So we have x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. Next thing is to move that over. So we have x squared plus 2x plus blank equals 1 plus blank. Now here's the number that we start with. So we always divide by 2. So we get 1 squared equals 1. Now this is the first one we use here, 1 and 1, and then this piece is going to be x, in this case x plus 1 squared. So what we have here is x plus 1 squared equals 2. Now we have to get our scalar back. So our scalar was times 2 at the beginning here. So we got to multiply each thing here by 2 and 2. So we have here is 2x plus 1 squared equals 4. Move the 4 over, and what's my left? F. So therefore, bringing my f of x back in, I have 2x plus 1 squared minus 4. And what I have is function, or the steps, y equals x squared. Your vertex, you got negative 1, 4, negative 4, and so on and so on. So I'm ready to get going in terms of graphing. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at a couple more there. Let's say we have, say, g of x equals 1/2 x squared minus 2x plus 5. So again, drop that off, set it equal to 0. Don't want to work with fractions, and we definitely need a 1 here anyway, so let's multiply everything by 2. So I have 1x squared minus 4x plus 10 equals 0. Move this to the other side, so we have x squared minus 4x plus blank equals negative 10 plus blank. Alright, so again, here's the number you start with. Always divide by 2. So a be negative 2 squared is 4. So, again, this is the first number we use. The 4 on both sides. And then here is what we have. So we have x minus 2 squared equals negative 6. Let's throw my scalar back in. I do believe it was 1/2 up here. Right here. So let's multiply this by 1/2. This by 1/2. So you have 1/2 x minus 2 squared equals negative 2. Now let's go ahead and bring my function back in, which is g. Oops. So I have g of x equals 1/2 x minus 2 squared plus 2. And you're ready to go for graphing. Okay. Let's look at one more example, and then I'll let you take it from there on the assignment. All right, so let's say we have, let's say g of x in here, and let's say we have 1/3 x squared plus 4x plus 21. Okay, so cross it off, set equals 0. Okay, got to get rid of my fraction plus I need a 1 there. So simultaneously, by multiplying by 3, I'm going to do both pieces. I'm going to get a 1x squared plus 12x plus 63 equal to 0. Okay, now let's move this to the other side. So I have x squared plus 12x plus blank equals negative 63 plus blank. So here's my key piece there. I want to divide that by 2, which is 6. Squared is 36. So again, here's my first part, 36. 36. Okay. So I have, now here's my next part, x plus 6 squared equals negative 27. Getting my scalar back in, which is a third. So multiply by 1/3, 1/3. And this was g, I do believe. Now, I'll hold off here a second here. X plus 6 squared equals negative 9. Now move this back over and bring g back in. So I have 1/3 x plus 6 squared plus 9. All right, so hopefully that gives you enough examples to get started with. So again, I want you to start with worksheet 3.5G. That's the first one I'm going to grade. The other one that's due at the end of this week will be 3.5H. But I'll have a video, or Mr. Loftus will have a video of some ways of doing that one. Like I said, remember he'll have an office hours. I think Wednesday, Thursday is for the math, and I'll post that, the times, and hopefully you can figure out where to click on that to do that. All right, well, good luck. Hang in there. I know it's not perfect, but we'll make it work.